So I just wanted to do a quick review of this water boiler. This is the Cuisinart CPK-17. This is a 1.7 liter electric kettle. It sells for about maybe $70, $75. Available through Bed Bath & Beyond, Amazon, all sorts of different places like that, at least here in the US. You can see it has some basic qualities that are obvious and some that aren't quite obvious. It's a large electric kettle, so that's 1.7 liter max, so a lot of water. Then stainless steel body, limited plastic components, but there are some, which we'll get into in a minute. Fill gauge on the side. This is plastic. Different temperature settings. So you could heat it to 160, 175, 185, 190, 200, boil, start, and keep warm. These are just shortcuts that will stop the water at pre-boil temperatures, like 160 for delicate. I don't know what delicate is, but maybe a very light tea, 175 for green tea, so on and so forth. For black coffee, you would use boil, even though you want your black coffee, a 203, 204. Start will kick off the process. Keep warm. This is one of the smart settings on this. After you press this, it'll keep the water at the temperature you set it at for up to 30 minutes. At the top, there's a button that says open, and what this does is when you press it, the top will flip open. And we'll pop that in here for a second. Press it, top, flip open. Nice action. Looking inside is not ideal. You can see the body is almost entirely stainless steel inside. There's a little bit of plastic up here, along with a mesh. I'm not sure what the mesh is for, probably just so nothing accidentally falls in here. You should never want to boil your tea or anything like that in here. If you look down at the very end, right there on the left, that little white thing, that's a little valve that will let water into here for the fill gauge. The valve is, I believe, silicone, and there's a little bit of plastic here. All that plastic is BPA free, but the water does come in contact with plastic a little bit, which is one of the major downsides of this boiler. Sorry about that. You could see when you put it on, the light will show on, light will activate, showing there's power. But this has dry boil protection, so it won't start. Even if you press start, it won't start heating. I'm gonna add a little water and we'll see how it goes. Normally you would just put it under the faucet, obviously, but I wanted to pour the water in it just to save some time. Now we'll look at the base, then we'll get back to the water boiling. Stainless steel base with a non-skid bottom. It has a 360 base, which means you could put this in any direction and then spin it, which is very handy. After you take it off and put it back, it will activate this. And if it's within 30 seconds of your last use, it'll resume doing whatever you were doing before. It has a 30-second memory, which is very cool. You can see I put in 2 cups of water, maybe a little bit more than 2 cups, 2.5 cups. It filled it up to here, 0.65 liters, something like that, 0.7 liters. With the light here, you can see how filled this gauge is. You could probably just make out the water moving around. What you do now is you select your temperature, say 185. It will activate. Then you press start and you're off to the races. 185 will start blinking. We'll see if we can make that out. You probably just see 185 blinking, which means it's going. Start is activated, keep warm is active. You could turn off keep warm, and now it won't be keep warm. And again, keep warm means this will maintain the temperature you selected, so 185 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Just to be clear on this is, and it does stay active when you move it around, so that's very cool. This is a US model, right? So all these temperatures are in degrees Fahrenheit, and then the It's a 110 volt, as you could see over here. So it's a 110 outlet. This is a 1500 watt device, so a lot of wattage, a lot of power. Those temperatures, the temperature is definitely in Fahrenheit. The fill is in liters. Kind of is what it is. Maybe not ideal from a architectural standpoint over there. It doesn't match perfectly, but it gets the job done. That about covers it. A lot of blue, which is a little bit annoying. A lot of beeping. Already you heard it beeped how many times? So you got to keep in mind this thing beeps a lot, and you can't turn the beeping off. And then lastly, I wanted to look at my notes here. 1 liter cold water to boil, 4 minutes and 45 seconds. 1.5 liter cold water to boil, 5 minutes and 45 seconds. So that's more water than you need for a typical coffee pot. 1.5 liters, it's a lot of water, but also 5 minutes and 45 seconds is a long wait. So again, that's filling up to 1.5 liters and hitting the boil. It's a long wait, even at 1500 watts. And again, I was using cold water, so that's really what you want to take out of your faucet. There's a beeping. You cannot disable that beeping. Not ideal for me. You can check the video to see how long that took. But again, here's the times for cold water. 1 liter cold to boil, 4.5, 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So now we see that it hit the temperature, 185. So it holds this. Keep warm is off. It's not going to start again. The blue means it was recently active. This just gets a little hot. I did want to demonstrate that. Not quite that well, but this gets a little hot, even though it's an insulated canister. If you were to take this off, there's no battery or anything like this in the carafe, so it can't hold the LED. And then, but if you put it back in here, it will turn back on, and you'll see the 185 is active again. So it has that 30-second memory for your temperature. Again, if the keep warm was on, it would have resumed the keep warm for up to 30 minutes. Lastly, I wanted to cover the spout. The spout is fairly large, which means you could pour quickly, but also it loses a lot of temperature through the spout. So it does cool, probably more quickly than you would like. And then also the spout, it's definitely not a gooseneck, so it's not a very exact pouring spout. So you could pour quickly, but you can't pour very exactly. That's sort of the trade-off there. The total thing is on the large side, so keep that in mind. It's 12 inches tall and about 9 inches in diameter, so it's not the smallest of the boilers. I guess I have this for reference. It's a 2 liter Pyrex. Probably everyone has one of those lying around. We'll put them on the same distance away from you, so now you see that. It's a fairly substantive water boiler, but it is all that stainless steel, so it does look pretty nice, and it'll match your other Cuisinart stainless steel appliances. At the end of the day, I like this boiler, but I don't love it. My problems with it are that the beeping is annoying, especially in the morning, the baby's sleeping, whatever. It's annoying. At night, it just it doesn't need to beep that much. Then the blue LEDs, they're fine, just a little bit ugly. Again, it even beeps when turning on. You just cannot get away from those beeping. Then sometimes it's hard to turn off. Okay, I don't need it anymore. And then it turned off. Sometimes you fall into a loop where you press start and it just doesn't want to turn off and you can't figure out what's going on there. But if you're patient with it and you don't hit start too many times, it's usually fine. So negative feedback so far in the wrap-up is it's on the large side, beeps too much. I really dislike that there's plastic touching the water. That's super hard to avoid at this point, just when everything's made in plastic. And this one has very minimal plastic, but a little bit is too much for some people. Lastly, even with 1500 watts of power and a large capacity means a long time to boil. That's kind of just how it is. But waiting 6 minutes for 1.5 liters can be a little bit annoying. Again, it's a lot of water to heat up, so it is what it is. And then lastly is the price. At $70, even for a nice looking device like this, one with a good warranty and all that, I think it's a 3-year warranty, it's still a lot of money, more than a lot of people are going to want to spend. But if you go into this knowing it's a premium device, then maybe it's not so bad. So that's it. That's the Cuisinart CPK-17 1.7 liter electric kettle. Thanks for watching.